Hello there, I'm Roman from Artifice Productions, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 most common mistakes aspiring metal mixing engineers make. Some pros make them too, by the way, so beware. So that you can take those mistakes, roll them into nice little mistake balls, and shove them up and throw them away forever. And by the way, I made a cheat sheet you can print out and hang right next to your screen while mixing, just to make sure you actually stop doing this stuff. You can find the cheat sheet on my Patreon, so definitely check it out. Lots of other cool stuff there too. Links in the description. And with that out of the way, these are the 5 reasons your mix sucks. Number 1. Clashing low end. There is nothing worse than your kick drum, bass guitar, rhythm guitar, and synth bass obliterating your mix's low end all at the same time. But here's the thing, you can actually make it all work together. Just remember several key points. The lowest is the kick. It should be prominent around 50 to 70 Hz. Then goes the bass. Its low end lives around 80 to 150 Hz. And only then we have rhythm guitars. And let me put it straight, you have to filter out your chugging low end much more than you think. Don't let it mask any of your bass guitar's low frequencies. These two instruments should blend and complement each other, not fight for low end real estate. And after that, here's the thing with low end synths. It's either them or your real bass guitar in the low end department. They shouldn't be fighting, so you'll have to choose. If you want a prominent synth bass low end in a part of your song, you just filter out the low end of your real bass guitar. Or the other way around, if you want a more live low end, you filter out your synths. And yeah, don't forget about sidechaining too. Sometimes it works wonders. Number 2. Wacky drum compression. Okay, this mistake is super common, but luckily in metal mixes it's super easy to fix. Just follow a couple of simple rules. Slow attack and fast release on kick, snare and toms, and fast attack, fast release on overheads and rooms. And really don't overcomplicate stuff. You can mix all your drums just with a channel strip. And when you're confident doing that, you can get to the fancier stuff like FET compressors, distressors, etc. Number 3. Bad performance. Now, this one is my favorite, and even though it sounds super basic and logical, I just cannot stress enough how many people just don't get it. So I'll be pretty blunt with this one. You will never, and I mean never, get a good mix with a bad performance, no matter what awesome gear and plugins you have. And it doesn't matter if it's sloppy drums, sloppy guitars, palm muting too close to the neck pickup, vocal rhythm all over the place, sloppy bass, tuning issues. Bad anything, bad mix. And here is a little experiment you can try. Find any good multi-track from a decent band, Meshuggah from Nail the Mix for example, and just shove it all into a clean project in your DAW. And here's the thing, you'll just need several fader moves and panning and it'll already sound great. So mixing it will just make the great even better. And now if you try doing the same thing with a local band, sloppy performance, it just won't work. And maybe you'll think, oh well, these are raw tracks, I'll just mix them and it'll be good enough. No. Even if you mix it, it'll still be shit and you won't even get close to the reference you had in mind. So, if it's fixable, fix it. If it's tunable, tune it. But if it's not and the performance is flawed to the core, re-record it or get someone skilled enough to re-record it. Because the main rule of mixing is shit in, shit out. Number 4. Unfiltered time-based effects. This one isn't as obvious as the other ones, but it's pretty important, especially if you have lots of ambience on guitars, synths, or vocals. So the idea is actually pretty easy. You absolutely don't need low end on your reverbs and delays. You can start high-passing both around 300 Hz and sometimes even higher. Also, most of the time you don't need high end on both too, and they can be low-passed even up to like 1K in some situations. But the normal foolproof low pass can be around 3K on delays and around 4 to 5K on reverbs. Try it out, it really works wonders on overall clarity. Number 5. EQing for the sake of EQing. And finally, the most philosophical one, but arguably one of the most common mistakes even pros make. Don't EQ anything just because you think you need to EQ in order to mix. Sounds pretty strange, right? I mean, when you go into a mix, you open your DAW, load up your session, select a track, and the first thing you do is probably reach out for an EQ, right? Because like, everyone does it, what do you mean no EQ? Well, here is a mixing mentality changer for you. An audio track can sound great with no EQ on your end. Because guess what? It already has an EQ curve baked in. And that curve can actually already work for your mix. Here's an example. It's a pretty exaggerated scenario, but you'll get the point. So you got a multi-track for mixing, live drums, guitars and bass reamped through some neural DSP presets, some synths and effects. So the drums were recorded with some heavy EQ on the console, they already sound great. The guitars and bass are already filtered inside the neural DSP plugins, and all the effects and synths were produced using some pre-production demo, so they are already kind of mix-ready sounding, bright and punchy. So now you start applying your normal EQ moves on everything, because if you don't, you're just not mixing, right? And after all your hard work, you have an overly bright but at the same time weird and boomy mix. Because guess what? It already sounded fine before you started EQing the shit out of it. So as I said, that's pretty exaggerated, because probably you won't get ideally pre-EQ tracks that'll magically work with each other. But it's more than possible to actually have several tracks in a mix that already work. For example, an impact sample, or a clean guitar, or a hi-hat loop, or even a rhythm guitar track. Basically anything. So, long story short, just really focus and listen before EQing anything, because sometimes you just don't need to. And those were the 5 reasons why your mix sucks. But don't worry, now that you know them, you can start working on these mistakes, and with time, I'm sure your mixes will definitely get to the next level. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something new. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and check out my Patreon for a 5 reasons why your mix sucks cheat sheet, as well as other cool stuff. As always, this was Roman from Fist Productions. See you soon.